Okay guys, this is for the FST worksheet 1.2 day 2. It is problem number 5 that we're going to be taking a look at, and I thought I'd go ahead and do this one for you just because it's got the most, as far as it's the most involved problem that we would have to do. Okay, with every problem that we do with these, A, you have to look at your restrictions, and B, you then have to solve it. So if we take a look at just restrictions first, remember restrictions for these types of equations are where the denominator equals 0, right? Okay, we're not allowed to actually have our denominator equal 0 because then we would have an undefined term. So what I'm going to have to do is take a look at each of the denominators. I have an x plus 4, I have an x plus 3, and then I have this lovely x squared plus 7x plus 12. But honestly, at this point, I hope we kind of remember a little bit about our factoring, that if I were to factor this x squared plus 7x plus 12, it would end up being an x plus 4 times an x plus 3. And it's nice that, yes, of course, we've got our little hint where the other two denominators are already factors of the third. Okay. So ultimately what I would need to do is take all three of them, but really I don't have to take all three of them. I can just take this final one here and set it equal to 0, x plus 4 times x plus 3 equal to 0. But remember, it's kind of like we don't want this equal to 0. So we can write our little, put our little slash through our equal sign, and so that really can't be equal to 0. And then remember when you were factoring way back when, we had to split what we had, right? So x plus 4 is not allowed to equal to 0, and x plus 3 is not allowed to equal 0. So then, of course, x cannot be negative 4, and x cannot be negative 3. And those are just our restrictions. Okay. But ultimately, they do kind of help us figure out what we need to do next. Remember, we are going to have to figure out what we're going to have to multiply everything by. So I'm going to give me a new equation down here, just cloning that. Okay. And so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take everything in this equation and I'm going to multiply it by x plus 4 times x plus 3. And like with your notes, I always do a lot more work than I'm hoping that we're needing. But if we do need it, that's all right. We can still use it. So I take my first term, 1 over x plus 4. I'm going to multiply that by an x plus 4 times an x plus 3 over 1. That's going to be plus 2 over x plus 3. And I'm going to multiply that by an x plus 4 times an x plus 3 over 1. And then that is going to be a negative 1 over x squared plus 7x plus 12. But remember, what I just wrote, that x squared plus 7x plus 12, you can actually rewrite it so that it's already in its factored form. So you can look at it as x plus 4 times an x plus 3. And of course, we are going to multiply this third term times x plus 4 times x plus 3. And I'm running out of room. Sorry about that. Okay. Then I need to go back and figure out what can cancel. The x plus 4 here can cancel there. So then the only thing I have left from that first term is an x plus 3. Plus, over here, I'm going to cancel my x plus 3's, and so I will have a 2 times an x plus 4. And that will equal, over on the right side of my equation, the whole thing just kind of cancels out, and I'm just left with a negative 1. You have to be careful. You've got to watch that negative 1 right there. Okay, you have to look at that. That's a negative. You've got to remember to bring that down. And now it's just a nice, easy multi-step equation. We just have to remember to distribute properly. We've gotten rid of all of those crazy fractional, rational expressions. So we have x plus 3, x plus 3 plus 2x plus 8 equals a negative 1. Okay. And then now all we have to do is chicken, lettuce, tomato, combine our like terms. So 3x, and then we have a 3 and an 8 gives me an 11. Okay. And that equals a negative 1. Subtract 11 from both sides. I will get a 3x equals a negative 12. And when I divide both sides, I get my x equals a negative 4. However, we had a restriction, right, at the very top of our page when we first looked at our restrictions. Our x cannot equal negative 4. I know I scrolled up fast. Sorry about that, guys. We are not allowed to have an equal -4 for an answer, so when we go back down to the bottom, okay, that's just a big old no. There's no solution here. Okay, so it's kind of like we did all that work for nothing, but well, no solution. Okay. But we didn't really. I mean, we had to solve it. We had to get those restrictions. So I hope that helps you out, and we'll go over all the rest of them tomorrow in class, okay?